seeing things most people wouldn't believe.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Brian at Brian's Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for watching. Welcome to the community. Welcome to the channel. Today, you are looking at the Sony A80K 77-inch Wrgb OLED versus the QD-Oled Samsung S95B at 65 inches. Special thank you to Robert and Wendy Zahn of Value Electronics for supplying both panels as well as allowing me to film in their gallery in Scarsdale, New York. Please consider making your next AV purchase. Check the description below for all their information and let them know that Brian sent you. This is a very exciting comparison. You're looking at a 65-inch QD-Oled from Samsung versus the brand new 77-inch Sony A80K Wrgb OLED from Sony. Now, Sony is also using the brand new Evo EX panel from LG this year, so it is a different panel than last year's A80J. Again, going against the brand new QD-Oled. The Samsung S95B took the world by storm a few months ago. I've done several videos and comparisons on it. Did not plan on doing one against the A80K, but there happened to be a 65-inch there in the store, so decided to put them together last minute. Now, they're both in their standard preset. The standard preset for both shipping standard, I should say. The Sony had already been changed in other comparisons, so I'm putting it back to its out-of-the-box standard preset. We are juicing them both up. We will do more accurate comparisons at the end of this video, or should say through the middle. Considering how bright both are, the A80K and the S95K, or S95B, I should say, get the letters mixed up, I kind of wanted to juice them up and then compare them this way first, then dial them back to more accurate presets. Again, this is real content for real people. These panels do ship in this preset. I did juice them up a little bit, as you can see me changing both presets. We're trying to get them kind of close, or as close as I could at this point without any kind of calibration, or trying to make them look exactly the same. They are the same color temperature. Doesn't mean they'll look exactly the same. But I figured it'd be more fun to do a more vibrant, poppy, contrasty comparison, and then we'll dial it back again for the middle of the video, where we'll do movie, and we'll also do the Spears and Munsell demo disc at the very end. These are some of my favorite LG demos here, and they both look absolutely stunning. They're both very vibrant. Again, the A80K is a bit brighter than last year's A80J. All the time I've spent with the A80K, I haven't had any issues with ABL or ABSL. You can see how vibrant it is. Now, keep in mind, the A80K is 77 inches. It will have a larger presence compared to the 65-inch. I did not have the room to have them side by side in a light-controlled environment. I do film my comparisons with the TVs next to each other versus in post. Both are effective ways of filming, but I do like filming them together whenever possible. Now, you've seen many of these demos many times. The Samsung QD-Oled burst onto the scene a few months ago, turned the entire TV world upside down. The A80K was just released. Now, I've done the A80K versus the C2. You can see that on the channel as well. The scene by scene, there are times where they look exactly the same. To me, the S95B was always pretty accurate. Now, not completely accurate, but surprisingly accurate for a Samsung. Accuracy is a big thing right now in the TV world as far as what's accurate, what's not. To me, it's less important. I like to just talk about what image I prefer on screen. Now I'm really going to juice them both up and put it in dynamic and in vivid. As I mentioned, I'm trying to push these to make them pop, and then I will scale back in a few minutes to the movie preset, and you can watch the detail come back. But for me, covering LEDs and OLEDs for many years now, it's so nice to see two very vibrant, punchy OLEDs. Now, the Samsung's also taken several updates. the last update, which people were putting on via USB, has not been applied to this panel. The Samsung does look different than when I first saw it a few months ago. But what's happening with Samsung and their betas and all of their updates is really not something I agree with, that it is changing picture quality. So any of these comparisons can mean very little if it's nerfed with presets, or I'm sorry, nerfed with an update. But at this moment, I do like it very much. The S95B is excellent. The A80K is also excellent. It is amazing how shot for shot, they, again, as I mentioned, can look exactly the same or completely different. The colors are matched up just by warm to or expert. But a very exciting time with OLEDs, as we have, again, QD-OLED on the rise. Wrgb Oled's Evo panel. Looking forward to seeing what LG Displays comes up with next. And with Sony A80K, the XR cognitive processor being retooled this year, there is a stunning amount of detail on Sony, and their upscaling is one of the very best in the industry. Now, the S95B has a wider color gamut, being a QD quantum dot, and there are times where it does show up. What I did notice, since the Samsung has taken a few updates from when I saw it the first time, the Samsung almost looked different in 80% of the scenes in a comparison. Now, I feel like it's more accurate than it was. And for those of you that love Samsung, I'm not sure if that's always a good thing. Sometimes I like Samsung to run wild. I appreciate accuracy. I am not a stickler for it. There are 1,000 other channels looking for that. I am trying to show you the legit, regular person, out of the box. This is what you'll see at home. And if you want to mess with the settings and juice them up or make them look a certain way during animation or CGI, this is how it will look. Now we're moving into another demo. I believe after this demo, we're going to move back into a movie preset. Right now, we are still in a poppy color preset. You can see at times where the S95B looks a good deal brighter, and there's times where the A80K looks brighter. All depends on what is on screen. Also, content is a huge part of this. We are using YouTube demos here through a splitter. We will then transfer over to a Revon player, and we will have the Stacy Spears and Munsell disc, where we'll be going at 2,000 nits, where I believe YouTube is capped at 1,000 nits, where sometimes things through YouTube look similar. But you can see here where it looks like it's a loss of detail on the S95B. Again, we are at blown out presets. You'll see that detail come back in the next demo. But they both look absolutely amazing. OLEDs have really flooded the market in the last 2 years, being much more affordable than they were previously, kind of leaving LEDs in a weird spot, as LEDs are still very expensive at the higher end, and here are OLEDs coming from every angle and size. Now here, as we move into one of our favorite LG demos here, you'll see me bring the detail back into the S95B and movie preset. And watch the Sony, as you can keep the Sony where it is, and see how much more accurate the preset of movie is. Now again, the goal is to get them looking somewhat similar, not exactly like for like. Again, neither panel is calibrated. Now these are very fun demo material, very fun comparisons to do. Sometimes they are shockingly similar and then shockingly different. It all depends on the different material you put on them. Now, majority of these demos are in HDR. Several were in SDR. They were labeled accordingly. But they both look beautiful. Now, where are you guys in viewing OLEDs in the last few months? Is QD-OLED something that interests you, something you are apprehensive? Do you want to stay with the tried and true Sony and LG lineup? At the time of this viewing, the Sony A95K QD-OLED has been delayed till we're in the beginning of June. It's been delayed till mid-July or early July. The one thing I will say about Samsung, I am all for the QD-OLED. The problem I'm having with them, and I've had this issue with them for many years now, is their updates. How they alter their picture quality or now cripple their picture quality. At the time of this viewing, they've actually just hurt the very good Samsung QN90B. So upon filming this comparison, I was apprehensive of putting it out, as filmmaker mode has been changed since this released, or since I filmed this, I should say. But I don't agree with updates actually changing picture quality all that much. Not a big fan of that. Here we are in some SDR content. Not a huge fan of picture quality being altered by updates or changing. Something like the S95B was so bright, so vibrant, it seems to be scaled back a bit. Now that could be because the S95B doesn't have a heatsink and they're taking care of the panel, which is fine, but that's something that you have to kind of manage before something hits the market. As we recommend these every day, you want to make sure you're recommending something where a few months ago or when the S95B launched, it was go grab it, go buy it right now, to, oh, hang back, the updates are changing things. You can see even an SDR demo material, it looks absolutely amazing, both of them. As we switch back here to HDR. Now, we mentioned that Samsung seemed more accurate this year. There was a lot of laughing about that in the different communities. However, you know, Samsung had that signature look over the years, and they don't here. Things aren't overly saturated or overly blown out. It did have a natural yet bright yet vibrant look, which is what we always wanted from Samsung. The S95B has been an interesting panel since it launched because it was hated on, loved, hated on, loved. It was considered inaccurate by the calibrating community. Then, oh, well, it is accurate. So it's been a flip-flopping of sorts with the S95B. I've been impressed since I saw it taken out of the box. You can see my reaction on FOMO, Stop the FOMO's video where we unboxed it. I was watching him unbox it on camera and I was blown away by it. The A80K, which again is an improvement over last year's excellent A80J, is kind of like LG, tried and true. You can rely on it. Had no issues with the A80K as far as image retention. In gaming, the dimming does not seem to be an issue at all. Those videos are also on the channel as well. Please check those out. We're actually going to finish up this demo material here with one more SDR, one of my favorites here. Now, when the S95B first came out, it forced the brightness of SDR to be very, very bright. Right now, both the S95B and the A80K seem to look similar in SDR in terms of their brightness. I don't find OLEDs to be dim in SDR, at least not for the last few years. However, it was an issue many years ago when OLEDs first came to market. SDR brightness did seem to get cut in half. Not so here. As you can see, they're both beautiful. Now, there's times where the extra brightness, or I should say extra color on the Samsung gives it a more three-dimensional look. But there are times where the cognitive processor of the Sony adds a bit or touch more detail, as I showed you on the lions in the very, very beginning. Now, as we step away from YouTube and hook up a Revon player, I love that wallpaper they use. We're going to step into the Spears and Munsell calibration disc. We are going to go at 2000. And we are going to be in HDR. Obviously, Samsung does not have Dolby Vision. This is a comparison, and Stacy Spears' demo material is fantastic. We cannot wait for the new disc. As many of you have seen this for many, many times and many, many different panels. The whites behave differently. Again, some of that could be due to color not being 100% matched up, but I still do think it's a valid comparison. Now, I know many of you are very tired of seeing snow and horses. Now, keep in mind the Samsung is in its movie preset. It's not extremely bright. But we're not meant to look like for like here. And there's moments where there's more depth on the Samsung and then more on the Sony. I love how they trade shots in different scenes. Could probably match them up more closely. But this was done last minute at the end of a long shooting day. Very excited to see what is going to come of the A95K. We've already had early reports that it's not quite as bright. I do feel that it's being protected by the heatsink. But we'll have to wait and see. You just see there's a bit more color on the Samsung. I love that color gamut coverage on the Samsung, especially in gaming. Now, in the preset for the Sony, things like live color are disabled. The processing is disabled on both. Now, I will go back and do comparisons once these panels are calibrated. Though I am not a stickler of calibration, I am a fan of it. But I don't feel that it's necessary to be able to do comparisons, as this is what you're going to see at your own house. And what you would see in store. Though they are not in retail mode, they have been moved into, again, their movie presets. We started off in standard preset, then moved to a vivid and dynamic preset. But they're more fun to see what they can do by flexing them. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Many of you have noticed that the name of the channel has changed from Tech Therapy to Whisper Status, or I should say from Whisper Status to Tech Therapy. I'll be discussing that during the week in a Tech Therapy video. Thank you guys all so much for all your continued love, friendship, and support. Let me know what you think. Have you purchased either one of these panels? Are you looking at the A80J? As the A80K is just launched, it's a bit expensive. I am not aware at the time of this video if the smaller sizes have a matte finish or are glossy. The A80K at 77 inch has a glossier finish. They're both absolutely beautiful. Now, the S95B does have more gaming features. If you're looking at purchasing either one of these panels, you can see the difference in red there. A80K does have VRR and 4K 120 out of the box. But they both look absolutely stunning. Now again, at the time of this video, I'm not sure what the peak brightness on the S95 still is. Have not measured the A80K yet, but by no means does the A80K look dim in comparison to the QD-OLED. For me, I just wish in regards to Tizen that Samsung just leaves it alone. To me, it's one of the closest panel I've seen to what I've always wanted is from their QD-OLED this year. Just leave it alone, please. Then again, I wonder if it's being careful with the panel, making sure it doesn't burn in or there's no issues because there isn't a heat sink. Motion settings have also been disabled. So you're in a kind of stripped down movie mode and cinema on both. Now we're still working on the studio, which we'll have a larger space to compare these side by side, but for right now, this is the best I can do, so I apologize that they are set up the way they are. However, it is way too bright in the showroom, and it doesn't really show the reflection handling of either, simply because it is so bright out there. So where I am now seated is in their theater, which is also their calibration room. I've seen these demos so many times on so many different types of panels. Very gorgeous. All right, guys, what do you think? Let me know. QD-OLED, we are limited to 55 and 65 for this year. We will have 77-inch QD-OLEDs next year from Samsung. I am at the 83-inch and 85-inch size, so they won't be an option for me for a while. What are your thoughts? Are you as excited as you were when the S95B first launched? Has it changed? Are you more excited? What do you think of the A80K? Are you looking at the A80J? Let me know what you think. Again, special thank you to Robert Wendy at Value Electronics for allowing me to film there for 10 hours. Wow, they look amazing. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great, amazing evening, morning, afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Love you guys. Take care.